All right, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Looks like we are still in our trading range. Sure are. We checked above and below early on in yesterday's morning session and then held a higher low. Gave us another test of the high. Came back down, still trying to hold that higher low, and we're ultimately slowly grinding up again. It looks like it's struggling right now to kind of break above. May hold the moving average somewhere through here and make another swing at it. It is slowly trying to make higher lows though, so we may end up peaking above it, but for now, we're still just kind of in this trading range. We had a second small doji top day. It did go slightly under the previous day, stayed below the top, but not big rejection, just I mean, it's kind of flagging up here, right? So we'll take it by how she gives it. Don't really have a huge opinion this morning, I guess. We just know that we're still in the trading range and we're trying to potentially make some higher lows, but that's about it. Trading range could hold and just continue. Good morning one time. We had one economic release this morning too. The initial jobless claims was this morning. The number was slightly lower than they expected, which is bullish. So take that for what it's worth. Not a lot of huge volatility though. Opening this morning, again, really close to where we closed. That to this swing point that pushed the low. Quick spring though off that liquidity area down there. Yeah, we checked right above quickly. So we checked below and above this range here now. Potential reversal happening. Put this down here for now. We'll wait to see. But it did technically get above now. I mean, it's kind of doing what we expected. It did hold the moving average right back up to the high. We may make another swing at this top quickly. About to break above this top. We're equal tick with it so far. Nice. Yep. Check above. Can we get above that yesterday's wick? And then we're back to all-time highs potentially. Strong bullish open though so far. There it is. Very strong open. Now, we know that this is still a big trading range up here, so it did one time straight up. Just want to make sure that we don't fail this breakout. So if we do, maybe we end up getting a nice pattern to kind of roll this market rate back down and stay in this trading range. Did push out of it though up here pretty quickly. Inside candle, getting a little pullback. Doesn't look horrible though so far. Just kind of looks like a pullback for now. Still not a candle that made a high yet. Still pulling back. It's going to be fairly important to find some buyers here pretty soon. Working our way back through the moving average now. Woo. Maybe that was the reversal top. Didn't really give what I wanted to see. We did get an inside candle hanging man followed by an engulf candle. I definitely expected a little bit of a pullback off of that, but I wasn't going to trade it off of that as a fade opportunity, but looks like it would have worked quite nicely. It never broke the low, but the fact that it came all the way back down off of what was a pretty critical level for it to be testing got rejected just as strongly as it went up through it. I mean, crazier things have happened, but I would be surprised if this held. I don't really quite have the prerequisite to get short off a low one. All right, that's our 2-leg pullback now, technically. Strong failure signal right off that moving average. Could be a good short trade, but that would be it. See how we form here. Nothing actionable yet. It's already recovered more than I would expect, but we're still at the right location. $93, stop out $94. See if it gives us a good signal bar. Not at all. Not a fan of dojis. Can't action off that. See if it triggers here, 91.25. I'm not going to take the trade because I can't use a doji as a signal bar, but entry would be one tick below there. I'm almost more intrigued to see if this acts as a trap. If it triggers and then goes the other way, that would be a nice push. Didn't even trigger yet. Still holding a higher low. Double top. Little micro double top so far. Second doji with higher lows though. There's the trigger. That's technically the entry for the 2-leg pullback, but can't enter off doji candle, especially it doesn't even have like a dominant side. It's a legit doji. It is in the right location, but be patient. It's not AAA. If we break back above 93.75, this 2-leg pullback failure for science. I'm not going to take the trade, but we're recording it. The failure of the 2-leg pullback should be a beautiful long entry if it happens that way. Price definitely stuck here. Sellers are gonna have to step in pretty quick and get this back below 91. Or it looks like it's trying hard to go the other way. They've got to achieve 91. Bunch of inside candle price action. It's I mean, it makes sense that that's the follow through that we're getting right now, because we got two dojis where we should have got rejection quickly. So we knew there was both players in the market there. Oh, we might achieve it right here. They're gonna get it below. Yeah, they got it below. Buyers may step off now. We'll see. Yeah, makes sense. They had a chance for it to be a trap, and then, I mean, as soon as they achieved that, then the trade was actually starting to work and made sense. See if they can break a new low. In theory, the trade principle should push a new low extension below here. At least give us a test of low a day, but if we're down there, we might go lower. Interesting little higher low wicks happening here on this chart. Kind of got a little bit of like a demand line. That's the re-entry test. If it holds the re-entry test and goes lower, you could remove some risk. Got to get it below the demand line. Still just checking the entry, the underside of what we lost. Decent re-entry close candle for sure. This test below would allow me then to trail stop to this new wick. I like the price action that's kind of happening after. I just wish this top price action would have been a little different. Short 90. It's a good. You shorted the retest. I mean, it's a good trade. Absolutely a good trade. I like it. Getting your 2 points puts you like here. Yeah, that's, I mean, that's easy reachable if it works for sure. It looks so scuffed. This like little tight area now. It's the two-legged pullback didn't form exactly like I would need it to get in, and then the follow through hasn't really followed through the way that I would want to see it follow through either. It's difficult, but it's still holding in the right location, so it's she's a tough one. We're just kind of consolidating down here now, which could be good for either direction, really. If this goes one tick higher, it would tag my trailed stop. It did. Yeah, that would have tagged out my trailed stop right there. So I would have adjusted it to this wick. Looks like it's getting rejected though from that liquidity point. Come on, you could do it. Sell it to the ground. Definitely don't want to see it regain 92. Every time it regains another little point. Slowly creeping our way back up. Man, that 5-minute chart, like, whew, that's nasty looking. They're trying so hard to hold that swing point. Definitely still sellers present as well. Kind of coiling down here. Could read it maybe as like a bear flag. Had coil action like that. A little bit of sellers still present. See if they can get it back underneath the moving average. That'd be pretty good. We just hit 11 o'clock. How's our volume? So we had 100,000 contracts in a period, which is the typical low that we've been dealing with the last few days. So same low volume participation in the first half an hour. Not feeling so well today, if I'm being honest. My father texted me 2 days ago and said that he was feeling quite sick, and we went home for Christmas, first time in many years. I'm feeling it this morning. Ooh, there's some sellers. Hoping I don't get sick. Definitely some sellers stepped back in. The high of that 2-leg pullback. Trade's still valid technically. I would have been stopped out by now on a trailed stop, but the actual high point has not been breached. It's a pretty strong bear close candle. Right here on this demand line again. Trying to break through maybe. Brutal price action, man. Brutal. Inside, 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 followed by an outside on both sides right now. Extremely difficult coil. After a volatile move up, down, like. 5-minute candle has 1:15 seconds left. I'm ready for this thing to close in the dead middle and be another doji, an outside doji candle, just for like the huge mind fuckery. I'm ready for it. Seller's trying to step in, close that 5-minute candle low. It's gonna close right in the middle. Oh, that's nasty. That is nasty. We're gonna fake out again, or are we gonna actually break out? One tick poke so far. It looks like it wants to test above 93.75, but it has looked like that a few times and hasn't ever done it, although it hasn't been making lows off its attempts, so the demand line could get us up there. Hitting our head on it so far, no break. So let's see if it actually goes or if we fade out. We check above and then fade, or are we holding? Man, you held on like a champion. That was a hard trade to hold. That was a roller coaster. Nasty, nasty coil price action there. Your stop was in a good location though. The perfect location. I'm curious now if we're actually going to come back up and breach a high, or if, like, you know, we're going to fizzle out. Holding that low though for that long and now pushing back up, we could come up and break back up over high a day. Definitely could. This price action would have made buyers like a lot stronger. Sellers backed off at least till we get back up into this range, which is kind of where we're at right now. If we can hold the underside, we're going to check the more top side. Well, we've learned that during the Christmas holiday week or two, with the low volume participation, we get a lot of range trading. Or I mean, as I say that though, my brain automatically kicks back to that day that there was 2 days before Christmas that we had the real low volume, but the market chugged straight up. It was very one-sided. But the last few days have been pretty heavily ranges. Quick moves. Hey, morning, man. Hope you had good holidays. Yeah, it sure is, buddy. That volatility this morning, we had a quick up down, failed to re-break the low. I watched here for the 2-leg pullback, and if these two candles wouldn't have closed as doji, I would have been in this trade, but I cannot initiate my trade off a doji top like that. So I had to sit on my hands, and then this demand line started to hold, and then we kind of just failed to break the low. So failed to break the low. It's going to come back up, test the high, which is kind of what we're doing now, testing the underside of the high. Could keep coiling. Ultimately though, by failing to break this low, we could see a retest of the extreme minimum. Super low volume though, like the last few days. Our A period closed with 100,000, so actually even less than the last few days. No real setup for me. It was very close, but was one rule break, so no trade. Getting pretty close to our extreme right now. The sellers were pretty strong here before. They may not step back in though until we get above. There's definitely some present. In the same range as before. I will say that typically, I mean, we've developed this range up here, which started as a really nice head and shoulders setup, which failed. And now it didn't fail into spiking long, but it failed into staying as a range now. But this range has started to try to make higher lows and slightly higher highs to the point where we broke into all-time high this morning. But our rejection, the initial rejection, didn't actually push it back down into the lower part of the range at all. It kind of stayed in the top like third, and now we're actually trying again. So we might be about to break out of this range. Generally, the range gets tested, and if it fails, and we kind of stay back in, but it coming back up again this quickly. Hard to say though. We're there right now, we're at the extreme. See if they push it back down into the range and the double test fails. If it fails off a double test and doesn't go very far, be looking better for a move back into the lower part of the range. Could be a really big swing trade. But we'll see. The approach doesn't look real good for me. I want to use low volume to like validate the potential for like a big range fade out. But the other day we had low volume for 2 days, and the market just kind of chugged right along in a trend. So we didn't spike through the top yet though. 2 tick poke, closed as a doji. Minute and a half left on this 5-minute candle. It'd be pretty important. So technically we held from this swing point now. All right, boys, what are they doing with it in the last minute? Didn't close that bad, really. I did have some overlapping, but it did technically close pretty good. See though, still struggling some. It's a pretty bearish looking pattern here on the 1 minute chart. We might have a failed breakout. Be pretty important for them to get this back below this moving average. It's difficult price action. $30 seconds left. We're gonna break back up above 98 and a quarter, or are we gonna push down closer to 95? There's a big hanging man off of a breakout. It's definitely not a good long signal. Not good long confirmation on a breakout at all. Price action is confusing to me though, because it's doing a very similar thing that it did a couple days ago. It kind of like sets up very nicely for a mean reversion trade and then has no follow through. It like starts to play out and then we just get a whole bunch of series of higher lows and it slowly grinds its way back up out. Like technically we have a double top off of like a 2-tick break into all-time high, a nice bear like reversal candle and everything. 5-minute candle closed as a big hanging man. There is sell pressure here, but the candles, there's no like, generally the step into the downside when it happens, it's quick and aggressive like this one. Usually the downside movement is often much quicker than the grind up, but there's just no follow through. That's already back above it now. Yeah, fair enough. Yep. It is all-time high trading. Yeah, trying to fade all-time highs, it's probably not a good idea. Even though the pattern's there, just the context isn't really there. And it does show. We've tested now above this hanging man. We'll see. Yeah, it's a good idea for sure. Yeah. Like the other day I noticed that there was like almost no long setups that I really wanted. There was no long setups that I wanted, but you could have pretty much just bought any dip and it would have worked out, because all of the mean reversion trades or the short setup trades just kind of continued to slowly fail over and over and over, and the market kind of slowly grinded up. It was very difficult. Tested above this hanging man now. One tick poke. See if they can hold the moving average again. Like, this looks so bearish, right? It looks so beautiful for a nice mean reversion trade, but seeing so many of them just never work out, I'm kind of just not doing it until the market gets back to normal conditions. What are we at? We're at 1129. What's our participation in B period? 50K. So we're actually lower volume today than we have been any of these last friggin' holiday days. I was kind of expecting the opposite. I was like, oh, maybe after Monday, Tuesday, the observed holidays, volume will get back to normal, but it's actually been the opposite, and volume has decreased a little bit day by day. Yeah, could be, man, for sure. I guess, like, to be honest, I've never really traded this time of year. This was an education, like, 2 weeks for me, but wasn't what I expected. Been surprised many times. I've done pretty well with, like, minimizing my exposure, though. I've only taken a couple of trades if they were perfectly, like, AAA. I've been able to cover all my losses. I think I am slightly net positive in the last 2 weeks. So at least I didn't do a lot of damage to the account during the 2 weeks that are different. So my stepping stone now, this is like when I did okay with, like, controlling my drawdown during the different times. But when market gets back to normal conditions, I need to be able to flip the switch back and go back to trading how I'm supposed to trade. Forgot tomorrow was New Year's Eve, to be honest. So our hanging man now, we tested slightly above it, closed. We do have a mean reversion in play. We'll see if our trading range holds and we kind of fade way back down in, or if we get caught somewhere here and hold above this moving average. Have a good day, man. It is nasty, choppy day. Very minimal tradable action. Low volume, slow grind, chop. I really like this presentation as a potential top fade. We also have the criteria now. We were trending up. We quickly reversed off that top as the first opportunity the market's coming back. So if a few things lining up nicely for a potential short trade. There's going to be lots of longs trapped right now that are longing the top. We have a very bearish pattern on the larger time frame. We are at the top of the range, and we have the criteria now for a low one entry. So we have multiple things all lining up. There's just that little birdie in my head that's like making me hesitate so hard because we've failed to do this every time. Not every time, but a lot of times, I should say. Do like it though. Got my 2 ticks. It matches every rule. It literally matches everything. Other than that one birdie in my head saying that technically context has been iffy, but I feel mechanically I should take the trade. Just don't want to see a 1 tick extension under 94.50. I've got 1 extra tick of room. I got my 2 ticks like standard, so that in case it does a 1 tick poke for a 2-leg pullback, we're still in the trade. But ultimately we don't really want to see that. The concept of this trade is we know there's trapped longs. This is the first opportunity for people that have gotten out, and as this starts to go again the second time, they should panic and the market should flush a little. So we're kind of playing into the trapped mentality here, and if it doesn't happen that way, then the concept of the trade isn't really correct. It's not going to work anyway. Mechanically, it's a AAA version of the setup. The only thing that, like I said, the only thing that's not is the birdie in my head saying that mean reversion trades have really struggled lately. All right, we didn't get a 1 tick poke. It's looking all right. We broke into liquidity now though, so we definitely could get a snap. Try to be patient here and see if we can hold under and ideally get this candle below and hold. See what happens. I haven't had the ability to remove risk yet. We also have not only done a 1 tick poke though, so I am able to let this trade work for me. See if we can get below 93.25 here. 20 seconds left in this 5-minute candle. We could get some volatility here. Ended up closing as an inside candle. Okay, we have the first pullback candle. So as long as we get another candle that can go lower, we can remove some risk. We'll see what happens. Not really rejecting as quick as I would have liked to see it again. Coming back, testing the entry now. Still no rejection. There's a retest of the entry.
I'm sorry for the hurt, I'm sorry for the pain, I'm sorry that I ever let you think that you could stay. I'm sorry I'm the worst for always playing games. I'm sorry I involve you in my 2 a.m. mistakes. This ain't fair to no one, we know this isn't love. I hate that I'm a person that could mess with someone's chest. I only want you in a waste, naked and afraid that all the doors are closed and I'll end up alone. I only call you when I'm faded. I'm sort of ashamed that I let you pull me close just to let you go. Let's call it what it is, filling all the blanks. Let's not make it something, boy, when
Can we get a candle to go lower? We can. There we go. We can finally remove a little bit of risk. So we've done our re-entry test. We now have a candle that went lower. We're going to move our stop to this potential new swing. And that's that. It's the only management I can do. Now we'll see if we get another leg down. If it comes up and stops me out, don't want the trade. And we were able to eliminate some risk. I know this trade setup often does test the re-entry. So this is all, we're all systemized. We just gotta let it try to work. We got a decent reaction so far. One minute left in this 5-minute candle will be the tell. Not the ideal. May stop us out here, which is a-okay. Probably gonna stop me out. Sellers, are you there? Sellers? Any sellers? Can we break 94.50? This is so slow. I'm trying to just do hands-off, like mechanical systemized approach. And I've managed to do that so far, so I really want to just let it do its thing. Surprised that it's still in though, I'm gonna be honest. That's not the right way. Here comes my stop out. Just get me out. I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm done with this. You ready for it to dump to the ground now? And I closed it. It's not reacting like it should at all. And it's super slow. This thing dumps to the ground now and I exited after holding it that long and like giving up on the systematic approach at the very end. I deserve it. Yeah, just like that. Yep. I deserve it. I deserve my pain right now. Still just in the small range. Hasn't actually like confirmed anything. Oh, it looks like the sellers are trying so hard to step in, but there's some buyers down here as well. So we're just stuck in this little tight range. I hope this thing dumps right to the ground and then I can feel bad and then remind myself of why I do the systematic approach. I don't want to be justified for exiting it. I want the trade to have worked out. Remind myself why the systematic approach is there. Ah, shoot, it justified what I was trying to do. I gotta go pee. I'll be back. We're still in this little range, man. What am I gonna do with myself? Whew, look at that 1250 gross P&L. Hold on to your hats. It's interesting. We retested entry. We've gone sideways since. We are trying to fail, but at the same time, it actually did create the double top and then the trigger, which went one tick below the double top, and then it instantly held and actually went back above, thus creating this line as a trap line. But now we're right back to that line again. So we have like slight megaphone action happening if this makes a lower low. Yeah, man. 1250. Whoop. Buy coffee for 2 days. But yeah, definitely not the price action follow through I wanted on the trade that I was in. It was looking good, and then I was trying to allow it to really develop into what I was hoping for, but it didn't quite have the oomph to do so. Looks like, I mean, this looks really bad as a pattern to hold the moving average. It could finally do it, but yeah, it's just really not. Nope. It's very slow and debatey. Your exposure time in a trade is a long time right now, it feels like. The longer that exposure time is, the more chances I have to make a mistake. This was the move I was looking for. Now, if you were trading this off the 5-minute chart, you have a really nice topping pattern here. We got our hanging man followed by the inside reversal, like failure, close on the low. Looks really good. That's a great top pattern for a fade in a large trading range like that. Like I'd be, you know, if I was trading this on a larger time frame, I'd be like big time swinging this trade, or trying to. Maybe I got greedy though. Maybe in today's market, understanding the market has been what it has been, I should have just taken the trade out on extension. You know, maybe that was the smarter play instead of trying to get greedy for the second leg. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do any real deep evaluation on it. The systematic approach is set up for a reason, so it is what it is. First candle to make a low. Traders triggered in at 95.75. Stop out was 97.50. So one tick under 2 points. So 91.75. I mean, we got 2-to-1 on the exit, or 1-to-1 on the exit. But not really looking for 1-to-1. Yeah, true. Yeah, you're not wrong. We actually just rolled over to 12. What's our volume like in C period? Yeah. 35, 39, 40, somewhere there. Very low. We don't have any prerequisite for a one-time entry, but I am fairly convinced that this market is trying to go down now. Top pattern played out really nicely. The trade that I took too did play out. It did give extension, and it gave a second extension. Just this like range period here kind of fucked me around. So, you know, the short side is the side to be on. We are back down to where our accumulation was this morning, which makes sense for some profit taking. Be some people trying to long, I guess, this volume area. Still under the moving average though. If We could get a nice clean 2-leg pullback to the moving average, maybe. Looking for the market to come lower. Inside candle again. First candle to make a low. Doesn't look like it's going to give a second attempt. Looks like it's just trying to go off of one. Well, I'm still sitting here kind of like, oh, maybe something exciting will happen. But Maybe grasping. Even though it wasn't a real eventful day, I stuck to my plan. That's a win. It'll just gotta be able to stick to my plan when the conditions are back to normal. Didn't get mixed up where I didn't want to get mixed up. Man, I could have taken that. I didn't realize, I wasn't really paying close enough attention. The points, like I could have taken this trade off the 5-minute chart pattern and managed it a lot differently. Like easily. Normally, I'm not used to trading off the 5-minute chart because the candles are often too expensive. But that was like, man, such a good entry. Just one tick below that failure candle. Then I wouldn't have had to ditch the trade where I did. I'd still be holding it. Having the trailed stop now move to here, still looking for a much larger move down. Trying to put in a little W here. Bear flag or reversal? I vote bear flag. Yeah, I hear you. I only say bear flag because we failed at such a larger time frame level that I feel like it's going to bring in larger time frame players and the market will potentially rotate a little bit. So even, and like this swing point here did push a high, but that high, that was a failed breakout, like big time. And we're back down testing near the lows again. So maybe we hold enough that we stay range bound, but just applying like swing rules, I would kind of expect this swing point to get challenged at before this one got rebroken. Would be how I would want to, or what I would expect.
Can I have this kiss forever be free? Just as long as you breathe with me, I can hold on to your soul. Don't you leave. Just as long as you stay with me. Stay with me, stay with me. Stay with me, just stay with me. Stay with me, stay with me. Stay with me, just stay with me.
Wait, are they scrapping the unrealized capital gains tax bill that they were trying to? They're considering it. That's interesting. Looks like they're taking a slightly different approach to it. Yeah, I'm just reading like a news article that came out today titled "The Rich Benefit as Democrats Retreat from Tax on Unrealized Capital Gains." I knew that they were like starting to potentially, there was a bill that was being proposed that was going to tax unrealized gains, but it looks like it's being adjusted. I don't know, a lot of this wording is kind of over my head, but that's the gist of it that I got. I think they're going to take a slightly different approach. Oh, bear flag? Potential bear flag play out? I have no actionable strategy to do anything with it, but just Connecting some dots. Keeps me focused. The top entry off that 5-minute pattern, now we could have moved the risk down to here now. Still trailing that stop. It's been weeks since I've been able to initiate a trade off the 5-minute chart. I was not paying attention at all to my sizing option there. Could have done that. I mean, I knew the pattern was really bearish. That's why we got short here where we did, but I had to manage the trade off the 1-minute chart then, so the 1-minute chop here ended up flubbing me out, but a little bit less noise on this time frame. Well, that's all right. It's all practice and learning. Bear flag actually didn't play out yet. We're like triple bottoming so far. It's kind of turning into another trading range down here. Same spot it was this morning. So we created a bit of a W reversal and then we pulled it. This is the first pullback, allowing people to potentially adjust their position. So this next, if this candle were to make a low under here, should be our deciding factor. Either we make a low here and push the low, or we make a low here, reverse, break above this 92.50, and then that would ultimately push back up a new high above here. I don't think I really care either way though. I don't think I'm gonna stick around anymore. I have other things that I can go get done today. Not really achieving much being here. Was a good learn day though. Like, we're kind of still in the same low volume, real range trading. We did have good awareness though today. I do want to say that, you know, there was a few situations that I almost, you know, got involved in, but following my rules didn't allow myself to get in. Like here, you know, we had that quick move this morning which set up really quite nicely for a two-legged pullback to the moving average in what was a reversing market, but my signal candle was 2 dojis, so there was no trade option here. Couldn't have done anything with this. Trade went into like some pretty nasty like triangle wedging down here, inevitably did hold a higher low, and we came all the way back up and retested the high. So that move makes sense. You know, failure to break that low, we're going to come back up and test the high, or potentially coil. But we did come back up and test the high, and we did find seller pressure right here pretty much right away. We got a double top with a nice signal push right back to the moving average. Price came right back up. We only went 1 tick higher and then gave a nice big bear candle. Now looking at this, we were closing as a big old hanging man, and then we got a nice attempt to go a smidge higher. Market reversed and closed on its extreme low. That looks so bearish. Like that is a great top pattern. So I wasn't quick enough to act off the 5-minute chart, but we did understand what was happening, and I was extremely interested in taking this low 1 opportunity. We took it, and the trade worked out perfectly. It gave extension, it gave like a little over 1-to-1, but you know, systematically I was really looking for that to keep going, and I have to wait for a way to eliminate risk on a pullback, which usually comes back near my entry. It did right here. We were able to eliminate some risk, and then the market literally went into chop for way too long. So I ditched the trade at break even, and is what it is. Not against how I managed it. It should, if it was going to go like I wanted, I would have wanted it to go sooner. And I guess that's the amount of time that it took. I guess probably kind of relative to the day and like the volume participation and stuff like that. Ranges seem to be taking time. So, but it's okay, you know, the one trade that we did fully want and fully executed did work. And it was good awareness of, like, you know, the market rotation, market structure we were kind of on board with most of the time. There wasn't ever really a time where we were really confused and head scratching. So not bad, really. Not a bad day. Just unfortunately, this week is not great for us trading wise. But the important thing is we're not getting chopped up a bunch. We are technically green. So as long as I can maintain, the trick is, like, you know, these times that the market condition changes in the past are times where I would enter large periods of drawdown because I didn't accept the market was in a different, you know, context. So eliminating that is, you know, a big improvement. And we just need to be able to turn it back on when the condition is ready again. Because what would happen in the past is I would enter a drawdown phase in conditions that maybe weren't that nice for my trading. And then when the condition did come back, I had entered either so much drawdown that I had gotten scared or I had lost confidence in the strategy. So it took me a lot of time to start pulling the trigger like I should again. And by that time, I'd missed a lot of the good days again. And then maybe the context was changing again. So it was like this weird circle. It all comes down to consistency though, right? It would happen over and over and over because of consistency. And we are definitely improving on that aspect. So just keep on keeping on, and tomorrow's probably going to be kind of rough. I don't really expect much again. I will be here, and you know, we'll be ready in case, but we'll take it by ear. I just assume that with the way that the week's gone, volume's probably going to be even lower tomorrow. Would make sense. And then hopefully next week everything will be back to normal. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, we'll be back at her first thing tomorrow morning again, same time.